A lot of artists often say to me that they're about to release new music, but they're not sure how to promote it because they don't have a PR team or a budget. So in this video, I'm going to go through a few different easy to learn and free tips that you can use to promote your music. This is the first episode of How It Works, the new series by Plugsville. So let's get into it. The first thing you need to do is find a list of contacts to promote your music. Now the aim of what you're trying to do here is to find as big a list as is possible, containing as many different relevant publications and outlets that promote your genre or your sound. So start with the bigger platforms in your field. Let's say that there'll be maybe 3 to 5 of those at least. So you've messaged, say, 5 big platforms, and now you're thinking, I know there's so many smaller ones out there that can help me, but I don't know where to find them. So how you stumble across random useful accounts on social media is go on the social media profile of someone who works in the music industry and check who they follow. People in the music industry will follow other people in the music industry. So for example, let's say you go on my Twitter, you start scrolling down, you'll see that I follow a couple editors. So you might see them and be like, oh, okay, well, you edit this platform, you edit that platform, both of those platforms promote the sound I'm trying to make. Let me take a note of your contact, add it to my database, continue scrolling down. You might come across writers. So say you're an R&B artist and you come across a writer that covers R&B, you'd be thinking, well, sick. If I can send you my music and you like it, you might be willing to write about me on all these platforms that you write for. Let me take your contact down, add it to the list. Keep scrolling down. You'll come across radio hosts that I follow. So you look at them and you think, oh, okay, well, I do rap and you've got a rap show, so it can't hurt to maybe listen to 5 or 10 minutes of your show to see if it's something I can vibe with. If it is, take down the contact, add it to your list, keep scrolling down. You scroll down, you might come across a few platforms that I follow. You come across this mad platform called Plugsville. Then you add Plugsville's email to your list, you keep scrolling down. And then you keep scrolling down, and once you got to the bottom of one set of followers, go to another profile, do the same thing. And if you can do this for say 10 or 15 different profiles a day, by the end of a week, you should have quite a solid list of contacts put together. I would also advise making a list of relevant Instagram contacts and Instagram pages of Instagram accounts that repost the music that you make and the sound that you make. But I'm going to do a separate video about social media promotion where I'll go into more depth about that. So now you've got your contacts, you need to move on to step 2. Ask people to promote your music. Now here, when you're asking people to promote your music, what you need is a press release. Now for those that don't know, a press release is basically a short descriptive kind of statement that summarizes your work and your music. This document is going to represent you for a while, probably at least, it's going to represent you until you decide to get your new press release done. So it's likely that it will be a few months at least. So this document needs to be A1, it needs to be on point, it needs to be tip top, because when you're messaging all these people, this is the thing that they see, this is the piece of material they're going to look at and either be interested in or be like, this sounds whack, and just disregard it. Pay somebody if you can to write your press release for you. Now where you look for people to write your press release is start with PR companies. So drop them a message and say, I can't afford an ongoing PR service at this time, and I can't really afford any kind of monthly commitment, but do you offer one-off press releases? If so, how much do you charge? And then you start with them. After you message the PR people, another good starting point is journalists. Journalists deal with press releases all the time, and press releases are basically descriptive statements about your music, and journalists describe music all day long. So there'd be another useful outlet to message to write your press release. Let's say that for whatever reason you can't find somebody to write your press release, or you prefer to write it yourself. If you're trying to write it yourself, what I would advise is make sure you keep it short and sweet. You don't want to waffle too much, and make sure it is as descriptive and unique to you as possible. So talk about the instrumentals you flow over. Talk about what your lyrics mean. Talk about what your new project's about. Talk about the importance of this collaboration you just did. Anything that you've done at that time that you feel that this person needs to know about, include and find a way to describe. And what you also want to avoid is using these comparisons. So don't be putting things like I'm the next Gigs or I'm the next Stormzy, because really and truly there's no next Gigs, there's no next Stormzy in it. There's only one of them and there's only one of you. So be the first version of yourself and stress how unique and individual your music is. So now you've got your press release, you need to start sending it out. So this is where you need to work out as an artist what types of coverage work best for you. For example, if you're expressive and you're really out there and maybe you think you're mad jokes, you might be more suited to doing more video style content, video interviews, funny YouTube videos, maybe some audio content as well. If you're a bit more reserved and you're a bit camera shy, you might be suited to doing more written interviews with photo shoots. It's about finding what works best for you, because at the end of the day you've got to be comfortable in that space. So now you've worked out what works best for you, what you want to do is start sending these messages off. And when you send the press release, make sure you end it by asking for an article feature or an interview. You have to end that press release with asking for something. You don't just want to be like, yo bro, wave your new music here, check it out, let me know what you think. I would advise trying to get your work in as many different spaces as you can. For example, I like reading, so if there's like a 1,000, 2,000, whatever 1,000-word article about an artist that I like, I'll read it. Equally, I'll also watch a YouTube video, but there are some people that would watch the YouTube video, but they can't be bothered to read that article. And there are some who would love the article, but they ain't got time for the YouTube video. So what I'm saying is, different fans operate in different spaces. So if you can get your music talked about in as many of these different spaces as you can, it helps a lot. So if you can get your music being talked about in the blog space, the article world, the podcast world, the YouTube world, the photography world, the Instagram world, that the more of these little spaces you can hit, the more conversation you're going to generate about your music. What you also need to do is personalize your message depending on who you're messaging. What you don't want to do is do dear platform, press release, thanks, artist, because that's dead. Let's say you're an R&B artist. Let's say that there's a die-hard R&B platform. They just cover R&B, nothing else, all the R&B stuff, old school R&B, new school R&B, think pieces, interviews, podcast, a lot. They love R&B, yeah? The message that you send to that platform to promote your R&B music should be different to the message that you send to the platform that only covers R&B as one of 6 genres, but also covers like rap, grime and all these other things. Step 3 is don't let your ego hold you back. Now sometimes when I chat to artists, they say things like, oh, but I want it to all be natural, because if I follow the blog and the blog interviews me, then it ain't natural, is it? If I get an interview on this radio show, but the radio show didn't just randomly find me, then it's not natural. All the powers that be are messed up. If you're signed by a record label, if the record label rates you, there should be some kind of promotion or PR attached to any big release that comes from you. Even if you're unsigned and you're popping, there's still a form of someone paying another person to go out there and ask them for features and interviews. Let me give you 2 examples of 2 different artists and 2 moments that are examples of really strong PR and promotion. So the first is Stormzy, Gang Signs and Prayer. When that album was released, Stormzy was everywhere. He was in so many different spaces, causing so much combo that you couldn't deny this album. Die-hard Stormzy fans were talking about it. People that only heard of Stormzy yesterday were talking about it. Old school grime fans were talking about it. People that only started listening to grime when German Whip Drop were talking about it. Like, all sorts of people were talking about it. Everyone was talking about it. He was doing YouTube videos with random celebrity chefs on GQ. He did an interview with LBC. He did an interview with BBC. He did NFTR. He did a last minute live performance. He was on billboards. He was everywhere. In this week that the album's released, you can't deny this. You have to at least discuss this in some way. And it benefited. It worked. The album went #1. and it was a historic moment. There is some music that is great music, but it perhaps isn't as big as it can be or should be because it suffers from a lack of PR or a lack of effective marketing. Stormzy's album was an example of great music and great promotion. The second example I'm going to give is Stefflon Don. Now, in an interview with Capital One Extra, shout out Rob Bruce, go check it out on their YouTube for the full version. In that interview, she was explaining how she managed to get success from her song Hurting Me in America. She was saying how she managed to get sales out there and how she managed to like make it take off. And what she was saying is she did a big radio run going from the East Coast to the West Coast on all the big radio stations, doing all the interviews, all the freestyles, everything to promote that track, and it paid off. She said that she sold over 500,000 singles in America. An artist in Steph's position, she might have thought to herself, I shouldn't be doing these interviews. Oh, don't they know that I'm the UK's hottest? They should be hollering me. Why aren't your ears open? Aren't you a radio host? Why aren't you across the latest artist? She didn't come with none of that. She just thought, rah, I've got a big single, I believe in it a lot, and these people are willing to promote me. Let me go out there and promote the hell out of this. And she did, and it paid off. To recap everything I've just said, step 1, find a list of contacts to promote your music to. Start with the bigger platforms. Once you get them, start scrolling through social media to find some of these smaller outlets. Make a big list. Also make a list of the Instagram pages. And then, yeah, now you've got your contacts. Step 2, ask people to promote your music. Create a press release. Once you've got your press release, work out which types of content and which types of promotion work best for you. And then the third, don't let your ego hold you back. What sense would it make to spend a couple months working on an album or EP or whatever, then you turn around and say, you know what, now it's out, like, forget the promo, like, what? You just spent all this time working on it and now you don't want to promote it. It don't make sense. That's how it works. Episode 1. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Follow Plugsville on all social media. That's at Plugsville. I'm AJ Rose. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. That's at AJ Rose, AJAY_ROSE. And yeah, if there's a particular topic that you guys want us to break down in these videos, drop us a DM, a message, a comment, get in touch, send us your suggestions. How it works. Peace.